What is up, LEGO fans? This is Tom from True North Bricks, and I have another LEGO unboxing for you. So this box has recently arrived on my doorstep from Denmark. We're going to take a minute to open it up. I'm not 100% sure what this is because the LEGO group has offered me a few things recently to review over at TrueNorthBricks.com. So once I get the tape off here, we'll have a look at what is inside. So there is another box inside. So we have a box within a box. But the sticker here gives it away. So the sticker says 71033. So if you've been paying attention to the rumors and such online at all, you will know that this is the set number that coincides with the new Minifigures series. So this is the Muppets, I believe. This is different packaging. So normally when I get one of these complete boxes of minifigures, there is a sealed box inside that has a folding lid. So the display for these minifigures appears to be a little bit different. I guess I could have just slipped that out. Apparently the bottom is not open. But anyway, so this display box is a little bit different. There's not that little flap that raises up. Don't really know the purpose of this little cardboard piece sticking off the side. But anyway, there you have it. That's the packaging for the latest LEGO minifigure series. So this is, once again, the Muppets. So there appears to be a number of minifigures in here. There are 12 characters in total. They're going to retail for $4.99 here in Canada. And I believe the release date for these is actually May 1st, 2022. So they're coming out pretty soon. So I'm going to take a few minutes. I'm going to feel my way through this box of minifigures. So I'll be able to tell you how many complete sets of minifigures are in each box in a few minutes. And then I'm going to get ahead and I'm going to jump into the feel guide for these characters. So stay tuned. All that is coming very soon. Alright, so I have felt my way through the packages, and it turns out that once again, as with previous collectible minifigure series, there are 3 complete sets of the Muppets inside of this box. So that means 3 complete sets of 12 minifigures. Now, again, I felt my way through the packages, so I've tried to figure out some tips and tricks to help you figure out what character you have while you're going through the store looking at these characters. So I have one set spread out on the table in front of me, and I have little note cards on them of the things that I felt for as I was looking through the packages. So we're going to start with Kermit. So with Kermit the Frog, the easiest way to identify him is to use the banjo. So there is a banjo piece inside of this package. It has the guitar stem on it, but it's perfectly round instead of the regular guitar shape. I also found that Kermit's head was very easy to identify. He has a very pointed face, but perhaps a better giveaway inside of the package is there is a curved little rainbow piece. So we're going to open this up now and we're going to check and see if in fact I am correct in my assessment of the Kermit the Frog package. And his head is still in there, so there we go. There we have Kermit the Frog. So he has the smaller, still movable legs, which is great. I much prefer those to those stumpy legs that don't move. There is the banjo piece that I was talking about. So it's a silver banjo, and there's also, again, that rainbow arc piece that I mentioned before. So there we have Kermit the Frog. Put those display bases on the side. So he is the first minifigure in the Muppets minifigure series. Let's just open up one of these cards. It's always good to have at least one of those at the ready. Now, I didn't open one before because this series was announced a few days ago officially on the LEGO site, so I didn't need to really, I guess, open one up just to have this in front of me, but it's good to have one now. So next one up we have Gonzo. So Gonzo, the first thing I was able to identify in this package was the chicken, so he comes with a chicken accessory. The other thing is he has a very distinct head shape because of his nose, so that's very easy to identify inside of the package. So again, he's got the smaller movable legs. These ones actually have a belt and little shoes printed on, so that's kind of neat. That's the first time that I've seen this much printing on one of the smaller pairs of legs, so that's quite nice. And again, his very curved nose is a very telltale sign that you have this character. And the chicken is the other really easy item to identify in that kit, or in that bag rather. Alright, who's up next? We have Animal. So Animal was a little bit harder for me to identify the first time around, because his head is it's a very round amorphous shape, so the head isn't really a very easy way to figure out that you have this character. What I ended up deciding was best was to use all of the tiny little bricks inside of this bag. So as you can see, his head, I mean, it's roundish, but that's not really, that doesn't make it very easy to identify him. He's got full-sized legs, but there's all of these little bricks inside of the bag, and the easiest things that I found to use were, first of all, this 2x2 round brick, but also there are a couple of these 2x2 round tiles in here. So those were the easiest things I found to use in order to identify that you have them. But there's also the little, I guess these are normally used to position minifigures in a minifigure series. So you attach them to the plate and it looks like the minifigure's flying or jumping. So there's a couple of those in this kit. Those are pretty good. But mostly this stuff goes towards assembling his drum kit. So on the back of the instructions here, you can find the assembly for the drums. This paddle piece, this is actually another, now that I think about it, another thing that I did find in the bag that made it easy to identify this character. But yeah, you're really looking for a large number of very small bricks and pieces in here, and that'll help you identify which character you actually have. So there's a little bit of assembly involved with this drum kit. A couple of little extra pieces, and then you've got Harry Potter wands in here that Animal uses as drumsticks. Put those in his hands. There we go. We have Animal and Animal's drum kit. Put those little pieces out of the way. Alright, so next, another band member. So this is the Janice minifigure. I actually never knew her name before this series. I just knew her as the Muppet with big lips. But she is pretty identifiable because of her hairpiece. Well, I shouldn't say hairpiece, her headpiece. All of these minifigures have very distinct head molds, so that makes them sometimes difficult to identify. So in the case of Animal, for example, is really hard, but Gonzo is really easy. So Janice is another one that's actually relatively easy because of her hair. So you can feel the hair in the back, you can feel the hair that comes out over her shoulders, and her face is very pointed. So that helps to identify her. An easier feature to use in the bag, though, is her electric guitar. So that was probably what I used the most to identify her, and I used the hair as kind of a secondary characteristic. All right, then we have Miss Piggy. So Miss Piggy is another one who is kind of hard to identify by her headpiece. It comes off as very oddly shaped and amorphous at first, but if you learn what to look for, it can actually help you. She does have hair sticking off the back, but really what gave her away for me was this tile. So it's the Miss Piggy tile that she comes with. So this is a 2x3 tile. She's the only character that has a tile that size. So if you can feel that, then you have a pretty good indication which minifigure you have. All right, this one is Statler. So he is one of the grumpy old men who hangs out in the balcony of the Muppets Theater. I was able to identify him based off of the book pieces that he has. So I guess it's meant to be a laptop. Yeah, so there's a little 1x2 tile in here that's a keyboard. So this piece I was able to feel pretty readily. The two parts of the book are the dead giveaway. So if you find that 1x2 tile and then you find the book covers, you have a really good indicator of what minifigure is in the case. You can't use the 1x2 tile by itself because another minifigure also has a 1x2 tile, but if you, again, the book covers are really the dead ringer for which character you have. Next up is Dr. Honeydew. So Dr. Honeydew was one of my favorite characters when I was a kid. I loved the Dr. Honeydew and Beaker sketches, so I'm thrilled that both of these characters are in this minifigure series. For him, the easiest way to identify him is to use the Erlenmeyer flask that comes in the case. So he comes with a little chemical sample here, pink. There's nothing, well, there's normally never anything printed on these, but there's nothing printed on this little flask. You get one in the bag. He has the shorter movable legs as well. His head is very round, so that kind of helps in identifying him, but really what you're looking for is the flask. The flask is the dead giveaway that you have this minifigure. All right, so now we have Waldorf, the other old grumpy man. The first time, this was the first package that I pulled out of this box, and I had no idea what it was the first time. Both Waldorf and Statler have very amorphous heads. You can't tell who they are very easily by using the head shape. It just kind of feels like a big blob inside the bag. But this character has cups. So there are 2 cups that you can feel inside of this package. So that was the first thing that I was able to identify. Then there's the saucers that the cups go on. So you get 2 of each of those pieces. So you get 2 cups, 2 saucers, but then this sign, this 2x2 tile with the 3 Zs on it indicating that he is bored, was really the easiest thing to identify. So if you can find a cup and you can find that 2x2 tile, then you have a really easy way to identify this particular character. All right, next up, Beaker. So my second most anticipated character in this series. Poor Beaker was always getting blown up in the Muppet Show, but it was funny. Funny for a bygone time. I don't know if you would see that anymore on television. But in any case, Beaker is most identifiable because of his head. His head is a cylinder with like a little tuffet on top. That's really easy to identify in the packaging. The other thing that helps is this is the other character that has a 1x2 tile in the bag. So this is a printed tile that's meant to look like a gauge of some sort, and he comes with a hand radio piece that you snap that onto. So he's monitoring some explosion or some reaction that's happening. So there's Beaker. Then we have Rolph the Dog. This was another character that I found was really hard to identify initially, but once you figure out what you're looking for, it gets much easier. So there are a couple of characters in this series that come with actual minifigure heads in the package, and Rolph is one of them. So when you're putting Rolph, or when you're feeling the Rolph bag, you will feel a minifigure head, and it is a white minifigure head that has two faces on it. And then there's a hairpiece in here too. So this is because he has a little bust in the package. And then he comes with a music sheet as well. So Rolph has full-size legs, which I think is a little bit odd. I think he would have looked a little bit cuter perhaps with the smaller minifigure legs, but there you have it. He comes with a little music sheet, so that's half a book. You can feel that as well, but that will probably confuse the character a bit with Statler, who has the computer screen, is also half of a book, so be on the lookout for that. You're really feeling for the minifigure head. I also felt the bottom part of the bust. That was easy to identify. And to a lesser extent, if you know what you're looking for, you can feel Rolph's ears, right? So he has a very round head with two ears sticking off of it. So that's how I identified him in any case. Fozzy Bear. So Fozzy Bear was really easy to identify. He has a banana. So the banana was the first thing that I felt in this package. Super, super easy to find. But there's also a ton of little pieces in here, and these little pieces come together to make his microphone stand. If we look at the instructions, so there's a couple of these rod pieces. I felt those in there too, so that's easy to identify. The microphone I found in one of the packages while I was feeling it. Fozzy has a full set of legs. His head is a little bit harder to identify, but if you're careful, you can kind of feel the ears and the little hat on top. But really, again, the banana. He's the only character that has a banana, so if you can find that, then you have a pretty good idea which character you have. So you get an extra rod and microphone in this package. And then, of course, the last character is the Swedish Chef. So the Swedish Chef, he has another head that is very oddly shaped. The first time I felt it, I wasn't really sure what I had, but this is also one of the minifigures that comes with an actual minifigure headpiece in the package, and that's because he's got like a radish or some kind of vegetable. Maybe it's a tomato, I don't really know. I'd have to go back and watch the Muppet Show to be sure. But, I mean, it's very identifiable. So if you find an actual minifigure head, you have either Rolph or the Swedish Chef. But with the Swedish Chef, the hat is attached to the head, so you can actually feel the narrower space in between the kind of bulbous head and the cloud-shaped top. So if you feel for that, that's a good indicator that you have the Swedish Chef. But really what I used was that little minifigure headpiece, the radish piece, and he also comes with whisks. So the whisks are really, really easy to feel in the package. And again, they are a dead giveaway of the character that you have. So there you go. That is the LEGO Muppets collectible minifigure series. So hopefully you enjoyed this field guide. I'll have a written version of it up shortly on truenorthbricks.com, so you can check it out there if you don't want to watch a video while you're in the store. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.